The San Diego region's vision for its future has been evolving for decades, changing from an emphasis on accommodating new growth in an orderly fashion to a focus on shaping that growth to create a more sustainable future. SANDAG continues to play a major role in helping to create a sustainable region in a number of ways, including long-term smart growth planning, providing transportation choices, helping to reduce energy consumption, and preserving the environment. The big picture vision is one of a region where people want to be, where they want to live. SANDAG is working with our cities and the county to grow up in existing neighborhoods, not out into rural areas. It's a development pattern called smart growth. This type of more sustainable growth is all about creating compact, fun, interesting communities in already developed urban areas that are efficient, livable, and walkable. The idea is to design communities where people don't have to get into their cars to run errands or shop. They can walk or bicycle to where they want to go. Smart growth communities are higher density and conveniently located close to job centers and public transit.
This is a perfect example of smart growth. We're right next to the San Diego Trolley at one of the stations in Mission Valley. There's higher density housing that's nearby, shops, services, and believe it or not, we're right along the San Diego River where there's a wonderful bike path that residents in this area can enjoy.
This approach to growth is different from the long-range planning of the 1990s, when development was expected to push east into San Diego County using precious rural and open space lands. But the smart growth strategy initiated 20 years ago by our region's local governments and SANDAG changed that trend, rewriting the region's future to one that's more sustainable.
At the same time, we are preserving open space, creating great communities, and reducing our greenhouse gas emissions.
For decades, SANDAG has been improving the region's transportation network to make travel more efficient and offer people more transportation choices. Good air quality depends on getting drivers away from solo commutes. Billions have been spent on new highways, express lanes, buses, trains, and trolleys. The most recent addition to the network is Rapid service. Rapid is a new breed of transit featuring customized buses that offer commuters faster service and limited stops along freeway express lanes and city streets.
What we're trying to do is create a system of high-speed services throughout the county for people making these long-distance trips. We've got a good start with the trolley, with the Sprinter, with the coaster, and now with the new Rapid services. Over the next 25 years, we want to expand that even further, more frequency.
A seamless and dependable transportation network is critical to a sustainable future. Along with smarter land use planning, it helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the region, an absolute must to ensure our quality of life. By 2050, we will add another 1 million people, 500,000 jobs, and 330,000 homes to our region. SANDAG is hard at work identifying ways to allow the region to absorb that growth. For years, its climate action strategy has been providing a framework for cities to enact programs that conserve electricity and gas, encourage the use of alternative fuels, and promote renewable energy sources.
I'm at the Sabre Springs Transit Station, and what's nice is that I can drive my electric vehicle here and know that I can come and park and plug in at an EV charging station. Making these available to electric car drivers like me is part of SANDAG's sustainable community strategy. Smarter vehicles, cleaner air.
Today, more than 12,000 electric vehicles drive our county's roads. SANDAG is working with transit agencies, cities, and the county to promote the use of alternative fuels. And in the case of electric vehicles, install charging stations for drivers who need to plug in. In the interest of cutting greenhouse gas emissions, SANDAG is also aggressively looking for ways to help those same agencies make buildings like the Sabre Springs Transit Station energy efficient.
That includes electric vehicle charging stations, as well as solar car shading, which we have on the rooftop here. And it shades about half the cars that park up there, and it also provides the power for using these charging stations.
Also part of the climate action strategy is SANDAG's Energy Roadmap program. The agency is partnering with San Diego Gas and Electric to offer free energy assessments and recommendations to city governments eager to reduce energy consumption and cut their costs. And cities are starting to save.
And what we found is the electricity and natural gas savings so far, they've been the equivalent of the greenhouse gas emission reduction of a car driving 1.5 million miles. And what that is, that's the same as driving from San Diego to Washington, D.C. and back 283 times.
Reducing emissions is an important factor in combating the effects of climate change. And it's become the job of SANDAG's Transportation Demand Management Program, iCommute, to help all of us change our driving habits by exploring transportation choices that are more efficient than driving alone. Choices like ride-sharing, transit, bicycling, or walking to work or school. Miles of new express lanes opening along our freeways combined with financial incentives make carpooling and vanpooling more appealing than ever. In 1995, there were 40 vanpools in the region. Today, there are 700, and that number is climbing.
We've done the math, and on average, our vanpoolers who travel approximately 70 miles one way each day can actually save upwards of $9,000 a year by participating in a vanpool, and that's a substantial amount of savings. And one of the reasons that when we tell commuters about this as an option, they flock to it.
iCommute works with hundreds of employers in the region to set up and implement commuter programs for their employees. Everything from vanpooling to bicycling.
These programs not only have benefits for the environment, helping companies to meet their green goals, but they also help both employers and employees to save monies, sometimes get fit and healthy, reduce stress, and get back a little bit of extra time in their life.
iCommute promotes teleworking, and it provides a free online ride matching service along with the Guaranteed Ride Home program. It all adds up to less congestion on our roads, fewer gallons sold at the pump, and better air quality. With smart growth planning gaining momentum and our transportation network adapting, there is a huge emphasis on walking and bicycling, a cleaner and healthier way to get around. SANDAG calls it active transportation. Both are great options for commuters tying into the transit system. All of the region's trains, trolleys, and buses are bike accessible.
It's about everyday trips, so if you need to run an errand, if you need to commute to work, if you need to grab coffee, if you need to get to your bus or your trolley station. So we want to make it easy, we want to make it fun, especially in such a nice place like San Diego.
Just last year, the SANDAG board set aside $200 million to jumpstart our region's active transportation program during the next 10 years. That's money for building bikeways, improving pedestrian crossings, widening sidewalks, and installing bike racks throughout the county. The transportation and planning choices of today are being made with an eye towards serving the more compact and connected communities of tomorrow. By 2050, close to half of the land here in San Diego County will be dedicated to open space and habitat preservation. That's an enormous achievement. Wildlife habitat and rural lands that were slated for development 20 years ago are now being preserved and protected. SANDAG is doing its part to preserve our open space by going above and beyond traditional efforts. Through its groundbreaking Transnet Environmental Mitigation Program, SANDAG is acquiring key tracts of land early to offset potential disruption from future transportation projects. At the same time, it's helping the region obtain key properties to complete overall habitat conservation plans, such as the Multiple Habitat Conservation Program in coastal North County.
Collectively, we can think of this as one larger strategy of bringing together all the conserved lands, acquiring those lands in advance so that we save money as the cost of land goes up, and also providing our mitigation that we have to do anyways for our mobility improvements throughout the region.
SANDAG and its partners will continue to work toward preserving open space, building a transportation system that works for everyone, creating communities that promote good health, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. As the coming decades unfold, our region will realize its sustainable vision for more compact communities connected by a variety of transportation choices. That future holds the promise of a healthy environment, a strong economy, and an excellent quality of life for all of our citizens.